Imagine looking through old videos of yourself, old photos, you're smiling, singing, just being you, but somehow you don't remember it. Like you're not actually there, and yet there you are. The rest of the world loves this version of you more than they could ever love the real you. Sure, all that attention seems like a dream, but something about that gap, the space between the you on the screen and the you sitting alone in your apartment, it starts to hurt, starts to fade. This is, albeit a pretty watered down summary, the core of Perfect Blue, a film directed by Satoshi Kon and released in May 1999. The movie follows Mima, I think it's Mima, a pretty popular idol who decides to leave her music group to pursue a career in acting, but as she does, she starts to lose her grip on reality and herself. I'm sure you've probably heard the old idea in Japanese philosophy that you have three faces. The first is the one that you show the world, the second is the one that you show your close friends and family, and the third is the one that no one ever sees, your true self. I bring this up because Perfect Blue feels like a story where all three masks begin to collapse into one, folding over each other until there's nothing left but static. And that collapse isn't liberating, it's horrifying. Because when every version of you starts to blur together, you can't tell who's real anymore. The girl on stage, the private self in the apartment, the hidden fears and doubts. When those walls break down, you're left asking, who am I really? And what happens if I don't like the answer? To me, Perfect Blue is an insanely disturbing dive into identity, obsession, and the price of fame, especially how women are often exploited in entertainment. The film is played out in a way that is almost impossible to tell what's actually real until the very end of the movie. A lot of what makes this movie so unnerving to watch is the art style. It's beautiful, but not in the same way as something like Evangelion or Inuyasha. All the characters in this movie have an almost uncanny realness to them that really lands in its favor. If you've watched this far and the movie seems interesting to you, I really do strongly recommend you go check this movie out. It will absolutely affect you. Okay, elephant in the room. This is not the sort of video I normally make, and it's also the first video I've made in a while. But I thought I'd come back and try something new, so here I am. I'm kind of just going to be waffling about things I like for a bit, if that wasn't obvious by the title of the video, but let me know if it's something you guys like and I'll make more, because oh boy, there's a lot of things I like, surprisingly enough. On the opposite side of the emotional spectrum, I'm going to talk about a game I don't think is perfect, but I love all the same. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let me start by saying I am not a diehard Final Fantasy fan. I did not play the original, so I'm probably missing a lot of the context and some of the flaws this game has. But honestly, I take that as a positive because I absolutely love this game. By the way, editing Kai here, I feel inclined to mention the fact that I have a real-life Buster Sword that I definitely did not spend a lot of money on at a con that I should not have spent. Moving on. I really liked the first Final Fantasy VII Remake enough to replay the DLC and go back to do some side missions, which is not something I usually do. So when I say I liked Rebirth about 3 times as much, that should tell you how deep this game got its hooks into me. I wouldn't call it a 10 out of 10, it's got very noticeable flaws, the pacing's a bit off in places, some side quests feel kind of meh, and those fucking radio towers, did we learn nothing from Far Cry? But honestly, I don't care, because this is one of the few big RPGs that really just pulled me in. The characters feel like old friends, the world doesn't just feel like a backdrop, it feels like a place I actually know. There's kind of a magic here that's hard to explain without just handing someone a controller and being like, here, you'll get it. All the characters, especially Yuffie, feel like more than just party members. They're people I actually care about, especially Yuffie. And even when the story stumbles, and it does stumble, the heart of it always shines through. And I think a big part of that is thanks to the incredible set pieces. There's a part pretty early on where Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith have to sneak into a parade by disguising themselves as Shinra soldiers. And by parade, I mean like full-on, choreographed, synchronized dance performance. and somehow they all just pick it up immediately. No hesitation, no complaints. Cloud's just like, I've done this before, copy me. And the others, they just nail it instantly. Some real JoJo's Bizarre Adventure shit, and I'm so here for it. Then you just get like an hour or two long section undercover in the parade with this rhythm game segment that just goes unfathomably hard. The game is just full of stuff like this. It'll hit you with a super emotional scene and then just immediately follow it up with some bullshit like this. I love this game. For all its flaws, I can't sing its praises enough. Also, Yuffie. Did I mention Yuffie? Okay, so I had the idea to write about this next game before the absolute mess that was the Dawn of the Hunt update. So for the sake of my sanity, and yours, let's just pretend that never happened. If you're watching this video in the future, it's probably fine now anyway, so we're just gonna roll with it. Path of Exile 2 feels like driving a bus through a field of glass greenhouses, and I mean that in the best way possible. This game's still in early access and you can grab it right now for like £20, and goddamn, is it worth it. I put around 90 hours into the first Path of Exile and I loved it, but in my opinion, this sequel does almost everything better. Not you. If you're not a Path of Exile 1 player or just haven't tried an ARPG game before, this game is basically kill lots of enemies on screen with lots of flashy spells and stuff. You've probably seen this absolute monster of a skill tree, and it's turned a lot of people away, but let me explain just for a sec. All classes share the exact same skill tree. Warrior starts here, Sorceress starts here. You know what that means? It means you can build your warrior over to the Sorceress tree and start using her perks. The build variety in this game is literally endless. You can use anything with any class, any skill, any weapon, any support gem, and oh my god, I haven't mentioned support gems yet. Gems in this game give you your abilities. For example, Frostbolt, a projectile that freezes the ground beneath it and does damage, but support gems can change how that ability works. For example, Scattershot makes your projectiles fire 2 extra, so now you're firing 3 frostbolts completely freezing the ground beneath you. And of course, any enemies who decide to walk on it. And we're not stopping there. Let's add glaciation, making it even more effective at freezing your enemies, and boom, you're freezing literally everything in your path. Yes, including bosses, which by the way are incredible.
I'm lagging.
There are 174 support gems. 100 more are getting added in the new update. The variety in this game is absolutely endless, and that's just one of the reasons this game is so fun. Did I mention that this is going to be completely free to play when it's out of early access? You're doing yourself a disservice by not at least giving this game a shot when it releases. It is genuinely incredible. For anyone curious, this league I'm running a warrior, using the perk Giant's Blood that lets me use two-handed weapons with one hand. So now I can use a fat great hammer and a great shield, completely slamming everything in my path with 2 clicks. Last league I ran a ranger, using lightning to chain between all the enemies on screen, vaporizing them in seconds. I have absolute faith that once this game is finished cooking, it will be one of the greatest ARPGs of all time. A friend and I play this game called Guess the Game. It's a Wordle kind of game where you have to guess the game you're looking at from a few pictures. And this game comes up, this silly looking 2.5D fantasy game with a knight blocking fireballs with a shield. We had somehow never heard of it before. That game was Trine 2. Of course, we then immediately went and bought that game and played through it together. Trine 2 is amazing. Oh my god, if you haven't played it, play it immediately. We are currently making our way through the entire series, but this is the one that started it for us. Trine is an extremely fun, silly, goofy fantasy game. It's 1 to 3 players, but we played it with just the 2 of us. At its core, it's a 2D physics platformer, but the game has 3 characters you can swap between that all have their own abilities and uses, and each one of them is super fun to play as. Amadeus is a wizard, and he has the ability to spawn in boxes and planks and move them around with telekinesis. Zoya is a thief. She has a super fun grappling hook and a bow. She can also like slow down time at some point. Pontius is my absolute favorite. He's just a big, fat, chunky knight with a heart of gold. He starts off with just a sword and shield, but eventually you can level him up to be able to glide, throw hammers, and even magnetize objects to his shield and throw them at things. With all of the abilities you get with these characters, you will basically never solve any of these puzzles the way they are intended to be solved. But I'm 99% sure that's done on purpose. If there's a super intricate puzzle laid out for you, most of the time you can just spawn a bunch of Amadeus's boxes and climb out of it, or grapple out of it with Zoya. I mentioned briefly, but there's also a skill tree for each character. Zoya can get an ice arrow, which not only freezes enemies, but they can create ice rafts in water, completely skipping any water section for the most part. Amadeus can also levitate something in the air while Zoya is grappling onto it, letting him fly her around like a drone and just toss her into the next area. If you're playing with a friend, you can absolutely bully the fuck out of each other to your heart's content, which my friend and I absolutely did for almost half of our playtime.
I'm holding it for you. Do you want me to break it, mate?
Oh, good one, mate. Now Daddy can't get across.
The art for the game is absolutely gorgeous too. These incredible bright high fantasy colors are just completely different to the fantasy games you get nowadays. Sure, Elden Ring is absolutely gorgeous, but damn, the colorfulness also carries over to the story and characters as well. It's all just super cute, super fun, and an absolute blast for the entire game. I literally cannot recommend this game enough, especially because we got it for like £2 on Steam. Go check out Trine 2 immediately, it's non-negotiable. Okay, for this part of the video, I'm going to spend a bit of time talking about music. Until like 3 years ago, I wasn't really much of a music nerd, which is weird for someone who plays piano. But what I mean is I never really found a genre or artist that really hit me, that clicked. Since then though, I've branched out into some genres I never would have looked at before, and I've found some of the most fun, creepy, tragic, and just straight up beautiful albums I've ever heard. And I just need to talk about some of them. I'm going to start with a few rapid fire recommendations before I dive into the big hitters. First up, Igloo Ghost's Neo Wax Bloom is a criminally underrated electronic album packed with super fast, goofy as hell, over-the-top beats. This is what I imagine my cat Amari is listening to while rolling up the entire country. If that description even slightly tickles you, please do check it out. Next, I want to talk about Negative Spaces by Poppy. Yes, that Poppy.
Hi, I'm Poppy. In this video, I'm showing you how to load a gun.
It's a surprisingly solid metal album with punchy, heavy, and honestly pretty unique sounding tracks. Not at all what I expected from the funny YouTube woman, but hey, it works, would recommend. And finally here, I want to mention Tom Mish's 6 Songs EP. Just 6 incredibly well written, beautifully played tracks that he dropped over a few months. They all work together really nicely. I think Better Days was one of my favorite songs of last year. Seriously, just good, chill, happy vibes type music. Give it a listen. I can't imagine anyone wouldn't like this EP. When he died, they found so many scorpions inside his lungs. When he died, the statues of his missing children cried what was later found to be his blood. These aren't the words of some weird horror novel. They're lyrics. Lyrics to the song When He Died from Lemon Demon's absolutely unhinged album, Spirit Phone. Every track on this album sounds like it was written by a sleep-deprived cryptid whose hyperfixation is cursed VHS tapes. Each song is its own little horror story, and they're all just so much fun to listen to. This record is just unapologetically weird, and that's exactly why I love it so much. It's this weird mix of humor, horror, and bizarre sci-fi nonsense that somehow just works. One of the first songs on the album is about a guy who turns himself into an arcade machine, and yes, that is exactly as stupid as it sounds, but also it slaps, like actual banger status. Then you've got Sweet Bod, a song about someone who wants to dig up a corpse and cover it in honey. But don't worry guys, it's not sexual. Listening to this album is just fun. There's so much to unpack here that I could genuinely talk about it for hours, but I won't spoil it all. Just pause this video, go listen to the song Touchtone Telephone, and come back. You're welcome. The next album is one I genuinely did not expect to hit me as hard as it did. To say this album hit me is like saying an atom bomb tickled a pane of glass. I don't think Time and Place by Cara Cara Benito is a masterpiece, but it's an album that's brought me more emotion than almost any other. It's a perfect clash of absurdity and sincerity, in that I mean that these cartoonish noises, broken electronics, and glitchy sounding parts shouldn't feel emotional, but somehow they have the power to absolutely destroy you. Like listening to the world fall apart from the inside of a birthday party. Only acting especially gives me those weird, happy, but also existentially tragic vibes. Starting out with such a bright vibe like a school play, until it has a literal collapse, the music shifting and glitching, the act actually slipping into the abyss as you listen to it. And don't get me started on the beautifully put together visiting hours. It excels in almost ambient melancholy. The entire album is like a diary written while going through an emotional breakdown, but written with glitter pens and stickers, a clash of childhood and adulthood, the trauma of growing up, losing naivety yet still trying to hold on to color and sweetness as things fall apart around you. It's crazy and beautiful and shouts, "I'm not okay," from the top of its lungs in the most beautifully creative way possible. Hey, your feelings can suck, but having them recognized in a way like this can be weirdly comforting. Also, these songs are bangers, I don't know if I mentioned that. Just 10 out of 10. This next album is my all-time favorite, and it's absolutely tragic, but beautiful. We Had Good Times Together, Don't Forget That, is an absolutely harrowing piece of art by June, Sewer Slut, an artist known for, But putting all that aside, this album is an hour and a half absolute apocalypse roller coaster of emotion. And even though I've listened to it all the way through a good few times by now, it always manages to completely break me. This album has become for me a sort of meditation, something I put on in the background when I really want to appreciate who I am and what those around me have made me. It's hard to talk about the album without mentioning the absolutely heartbreaking story behind why the creator made it in the first place, but I'm not going to talk too deeply on that here, but it does absolutely give the album another level of beauty and sincerity. You know, that something this beautiful was made during such a time of turmoil in someone's life. What this album represents to me is the ability to keep going, to keep pushing through life no matter how hard it might get, to celebrate the experiences and people that might not be with us anymore, but we inevitably carry with us through life anyway. The track Her is one of the most melancholic and beautiful songs I've ever heard, and it's one of my favorite pieces of music of all time. It has this empty eeriness to it, like you're hearing something that's been left behind, but not entirely. And like I was saying before, that's what this entire album represents to me. It's absolutely undeniably tragic, but in a way that allows me to keep pushing through the things that have really hurt me. This album is a masterpiece. Thank you, Sewer Slut. Wow, that was intense. I want to try and brighten the mood here by shouting out Super Eyepatch Wolf, an absolutely incredible content creator who really inspired me to make this video. If you haven't heard of him before, and if you take absolutely anything from this video at all, go check him out. I'm going to leave a link to his channel in the description of this video, so go show him some love immediately. This is a video that took a lot more time to make than any video I have ever made before, but I really just made it out of pure passion, which gave me the motivation I needed to finish it. If you enjoyed this sort of video, let me know and I'll try to make more stuff like it if I can. There's always a lot of stuff I'm happy to talk about for hours, so... Anyway, this video is certainly long enough by now, so thanks for watching everyone, and take it easy. Later.